Here in Little John Coliseum, the 2018 and 19 campaign continues for the Clemson Tigers. Tonight, a second straight battle against a team from the Big South Conference. The Charleston Southern Buccaneers have made their way from the Low Country to take on the Tigers. Hi, everybody, and welcome in with Kelly Gramlich, Pete Hannity with you. A Clemson team that got a fierce battle out of Radford on Saturday before the Tigers prevailed against the Highlanders. Radford, a team picked to win the Big South Conference. Charleston Southern, one of the more intriguing teams out of that league. They're picked in the middle of the pack. They're going to play 94 feet. That's what they've gone to this year. Should be a ball game where the Tigers are going to need to have some energy tonight.
They're a very young team, Charleston Southern is. They've lost 4 in a row. They're 0-5 on the road, but their coach says this team has a great attitude, a great work ethic. They might not always make the right play, but they play really hard. We'll
see a Charleston Southern team that's trying to get experience in a hurry. Their roster pretty much full of sophomores and freshmen, but they've gotten contributions out of many young players. Now they are getting great play once again out of a junior guard, Christian Keeling. He averaged 16 points as a freshman, 18 last year, and this year he is right around that 18 points per game mark.
He was voted to the preseason first team in the Big South. He's played 30 or more minutes in 9 of their 10 games, and he's obviously very productive when you look at his numbers. He also put up a triple-double this year, Pete, against Coppin State. 20 points, 12 assists, 11 rebounds. He does it all for the Buccaneers.
We won't be surprised if at some point tonight we see 4 guards on the floor at one time for the Buccaneers. We'll certainly see 3 at a time. Keeling, one of those the Tigers will keep an eye on. But speaking of backcourt play, with Marquise Reed about to miss yet another ball game because of that knee issue, the Tigers hoping that a couple of guys, a sophomore and a freshman, can continue to step up in their roles on the team in that backcourt.
Clyde Trapp, the sophomore, John Newman, the freshman. John Newman got the start against Mississippi State, but Clyde Trapp has started lately for Clemson, and he played really well against Radford. 11 points for him, 2 threes. Clemson's guards are going to have to handle that pressure from Charleston Southern, and they're going to rely on these 2 young guys in Clyde Trapp and John Newman.
Poise will be crucial out of that backcourt. Charleston Southern second in the nation in forcing turnovers so far this season. They've made the opponent give it up 21.3 times. So, yeah, guys like Newman and Trapp and others will have to be careful and value the basketball. Our head coaches tonight, Barclay Radebaugh. His 128 wins, the most ever for a head coach at Charleston Southern University in his 14th season, and a fellow with deep ties to coach in the Palmetto State and the Carolinas. Several stops in both South and North Carolina during his career, his 15th year as a head coach. And Radebaugh tonight trying to come in and get a big-time win for his program, which starts tonight 4-6. Brad Brownell, we told you at the end of that win Saturday against Radford, he tied Bill Foster for second all-time in wins at Clemson with 156, so a chance with a victory tonight to move into second place all by himself. Mitchell looking to restore some order after the Tigers broke the pressure. And Mitchell, a little look off to the bucket he goes. Let's see if they'll count it. And it'll be a blocking foul, and Christian Keeling rung up for the personal.
And we know an issue for Clemson this year has been 3-point defense. I think the Tigers have run Charleston Southern off the 3 pretty well so far. The Bucs only with 3 attempts. They like to shoot nearly 30 threes a game.
Boy, we've seen a lot of that by Elijah Thomas. I think they're going to get the foul on the floor. They're going to count the bucket. They're going to go ahead and count it.
Eli Thomas has been much more willing to put the ball on the floor this season, especially in this game. I've noticed it already. He's attacking the basket. I think the big man thinks he's a guard.
Scara, Tyson, now Mitchell. And Elijah Thomas took it away from Bowser.
Offensive rebounding has been huge for Clemson so far. They haven't shot the ball well from 3, but Clemson is shooting the ball really well inside the paint.
Keeling pulls up over Scara. Wow, Christian Keeling knocking that one down. He had just 10 in their loss to North Florida.
It's hard to articulate to the viewers at home how difficult of a shot that is. When you're giving up 5 or 6 inches and to just drill a 3 in David Scara's face, that's an impressive shot from Keeling.
Scara breaking pressure. Tigers doing a good job. And then Thomas went gentle instead of thunder and adding to his point total. Big first half for Elijah Thomas. He now has 14 points. Tigers back in front by 9.
Clemson has been exceptional in transition so far, and they're making the right decision in almost every 3-on-2 situation.
In this final home game before Christmas in Littlejohn Coliseum, look who has shown up, but stunningly, perhaps when he crossed one of the latitudes coming out of the North Pole, Santa is gargantuan. He goes about 6'5", at least this version. Nonetheless, all the kids here on elementary night in Littlejohn Coliseum, happy to see him, maybe just as happy to see all those lollipops and the bucket he's holding as we welcome you back in, and with Kelly Gramlich, Pete Hannity with you, the two of us trying to adjust to the fact that Santa is so close, but we have a job to do. And
I know, we have to focus.
Talk about this opening half of play. Tigers have the 8-point lead, knowing they're going to face the pressure. Brad Brownell said they worked on some specifics toward that in practice, and it's shown so far a team that turns folks over, whether they're major competition from a Power 7 or otherwise. I think Tigers tonight have done a good job getting in the front court and then working it from there.
One thing Brownell mentioned, and this is something a lot of coaches do, you play 6 players on defense in practice to simulate that pressure. And I think Clemson's guards have really handled the ball well. Those young guys, Trapp and Newman, have stepped up.
And we couldn't be more impressed with the inside play of Elijah Thomas on one end and the all-around play of Christian Keeling. Those guys each in the neighborhood of 20 points in the opening half, and that has been the story so far. And again, you were impressed with the fact that Charleston Southern went 20 minutes and just 2 players able to score for them. One of them Keeling with the big effort that he's had so far, 19 points, Dontrell Schuler the other. As for the team numbers, and a few things jump out at you to both the good and the bad from the Clemson standpoint.
That's right, Charleston Southern with 5 made threes, all by Christian Keeling. Just one player on the court tonight has made a 3. Clemson has yet to knock down a shot from beyond the arc, but look at the points in the paint. The Tigers have dominated inside, 26-4 in the paint, and a lot of that is Eli Thomas with 19 points inside for Clemson.
A Tigers team that has a size advantage. They don't have the depth advantage. Charleston Southern's run a lot of guys out on the floor tonight, but Clemson so far doing just fine with the 8-point lead at the break. David Skara doing lots of things well tonight. When we come back, we're going to hear from him, Ashley Hodge, with a one-on-one interview with the Tiger, who's a native of Croatia, when we come back to Littlejohn. Halftime winding down in Littlejohn Coliseum. Tigers lead by 8. Those students doing their part to help the cause as finals are now in the rearview mirror. And we welcome you back into Littlejohn Coliseum. Pete Hannity, Kelly Gramlich with you. Tigers lead by 8. The 2 leading scorers in this game have each scored 19 apiece, 1 for each side. We've been impressed on each end. And again, it's been a different way that the 2 teams have seen their leading scorer get to the point total they have, starting in the backcourt with the Buccaneers.
It's been all about Christian Keeling for Charleston Southern. He has 19 of their 27 points, and he's done it from all over the floor. He does have 5 threes, so that's obviously added to his total, but he's also scored inside. He's gotten to the free throw line, and some of these threes he's knocked down against bigger defenders have just been flat out impressive. He looks off David Skara for a second on that one and launches the deep 3. And Clemson defensively has been solid as well. They've forced 12 Charleston Southern turnovers. They have 10 points off of those turnovers. A lot of deflections, getting steals, and getting out in transition. And that's been a point of emphasis for Coach Brownell. He wants Shelton Mitchell to push it, get out in transition. Let's create some 3-on-2 situations. And Clemson has done that. As you see here, this is a perfect example of Shelton Mitchell making the right play, making the smart decision, and hitting Amir Sims for the easy 2.
Elijah Thomas, his career high 26 points. He's 7 shy of that with 1/2 of work.
Eli Thomas has been exceptional as well for the Tigers in that first half, and he's dominated. He's had the size advantage on almost anybody that Charleston Southern's thrown at him. He's grabbed offensive rebounds. He's gotten putbacks, a ton of and-ones. He's even put the ball on the floor a little bit. We haven't seen that much from Eli Thomas, but that might be the most complete 1/2 of basketball we've seen Eli Thomas play in a Clemson uniform.
Eli Thomas just to the right of David Skara, who we featured at halftime. And for the good ball handling you mentioned Shelton Mitchell has done, it is Skara who leads the way with 4 assists in the opening half. What a benefit that is when you've got a guy at 6'8" who can do that. Meanwhile, for Christian Keeling and the Charleston Southern Buccaneers coming in at 4-6, trying to get their first ever win against Clemson. They've got to figure out a way to at least get some effective scoring out of others on the roster and do some work if they can in the lane.
And you mentioned assists. Charleston Southern did not record a single assist in that first half. They played a lot of one-on-one basketball, and it worked for Christian Keeling, but I'm not sure how sustainable that is.
Tigers working at baseline. Good ball movement. Mitchell, and he wiggles that one home. Shelton Mitchell starts out the scoring in the second half with a 3-pointer. the first made three of the game in 8 attempts by the Clemson squad.
He was 0 for 3 heading into that attempt, and like we said, Clemson has struggled from 3, but they've made up for it in the paint.
McConaughey unable to get that one to go and even catch any rim. Tigers matching their largest lead of the game. Sims now makes it the biggest. Strumming the guitar after he drains the tray. Clemson by 14 points. Barclay Radebaugh promptly off the bench. He'll use the timeout. A Clemson team that has built the advantage beyond its previous high of 11 points here in Littlejohn.
Turning their turnovers into transition opportunities, and a good pass by Shelton Mitchell.
Sims. Amir Sims looking like the guy who was able to have that big game from beyond the arc against Mississippi State when he was 4 out of 9. He's picking up the pace scoring-wise in the second half, and he's the second Tiger in double figures. 10 points, and he's perfect from the field and beyond the arc so far. Mitchell driving on Schuler off the glass. Shelton Mitchell, who reached 1,000 points in his career, now has a dozen in the game. He reached 1,000 points earlier tonight. Here's Schuler on the other end. Some pesky efforts out of St. Peter's and Radford in a couple of previous home games. Trapp having a good second half. Can't get that one to fall. Battle for the rebound. Thomas So not only grabbed it with the hustle, but put an exclamation point on the end of it. And he is closing in on his career high. He's 1 point away, now has 25.
Eli Thomas has done such a good job of rebounding the ball tonight. 14 rebounds for him. That's a season high. And those lead to easy buckets.
Trapp kicks to Newman. And John Newman hitting the tray. Fox banks it in from the side. Wow.
Using the backboard from beyond the arc, Parker Fox.
How do you like that? His first points as a Clemson Tiger, memorable indeed. Tigers about to go 19-0 all-time in the series against Charleston Southern as they complete a 78-51 victory. Congratulations, Brad Brownell, now second all-time in wins at Clemson as he picks up number 157 at the helm of the Tigers. In his career, he's creeping close to 325, now at 323. Tigers improved 8-3 on the year. A 5th consecutive loss for the Buccaneers. 5 in a row dropped, and they dropped to 4-7 on the season.
2 really impressive offensive performances today. Keeling with 25 for Charleston Southern, and the big man inside, Eli Thomas, 25 points on just 12 shots. Clemson shoots the ball really well, also knocks down 6 threes.
All kinds of ways to make you feel seasonal, both visually and audibly. Tigers now get ready for the big rivalry showdown in Columbia on Saturday. Back home here on the 30th of December against Lipscomb. Win number 8 in the books for the Tigers. For Kelly Gramlich, Pete Hannity saying so long from Littlejohn. This has been a presentation of ESPN.